The Young and the Restless preview for the week of November 17th reveals Sharon Newman will be horrified to see Matt Clark at her hotel room door. Also coming up, Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall will find themselves in a tough spot. Plus, Kane Ashby will give in to Phyllis Summers, and Claire Newman wants to set the record straight with Holden Novak. Y&R spoilers tease Claire will meet Holden at Crimson Lights. "I think we need to talk about what happened in LA," she says to him in the Y&R weekly preview. It's obvious Holden's crazy about her, but how does Claire feel about him? Meanwhile, Kane will tell Lily Winters he's had enough and has given up on trying to win her back. And it looks like he'll jump right into an entanglement with Phyllis. The preview shows them in her hotel suite getting hot and heavy. "Do I have your attention?" Phyllis will ask Kane, as she draws him into a makeout session. But will they end up sleeping together? In LA, Sienna will kneel over Noah, who is passed out on a cement floor. "Noah, wake up!" she'll say, shaking him. He'll open his eyes and ask Sienna what happened to him. So, will Matt have the two of them taken hostage? Finally, Sharon will be awoken from a nap when she hears the hotel fire alarm go off. "What the hell?" she'll say to herself as she gets up and grabs her purse off a table. Sharon will open the door, only to find Matt Clark standing there. "You!" she'll shout when she sees him. But why is Matt there, and what does he plan to do to Sharon? Stay tuned! Hey Y&R fans, are you enjoying the new CBS Sudser Beyond the Gates? Then make sure you join our free Facebook group. Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless character, Daniel Romalotti, has one big duty at Danny's upcoming remarriage to Cricket. Keep Phyllis away. Can he play middleman between his two parents? Daniel's portrayer, Michael Graziadei, is talking about the upcoming event and is reflecting on what it's like to play Danny and Phyllis's son. Graziadei sat down with Soap Opera Digest to analyze Daniel's dynamic with his unpredictable mother, Phyllis, and his far more stable father, Danny. He says he enjoys his scenes with Stafford more than any others. He raves about her talent and her ability to find things in the material that he may not have thought were even there. He says, "It is always a surprise, and it is always a joy. I mean, I cannot say enough good things about Michelle." The actor observes that he and Stafford have a unique on-screen mother-son dynamic that's not like anything else. He also feels lucky to have a great rapport with Damien, his TV dad. In fact, the two have stayed in touch during times that either both or one of them has been away from Genoa City. "I think that the two of us just have a nice relationship together," he says. One thing Graziadei has in common with Daniel is a love of music. Daniel's been learning how to play the guitar from Tessa, and Graziadei says he wouldn't mind it if Daniel performed on screen with Danny. "I think that's something that absolutely would make sense in this world," he says. Graziadei says viewers will have to tune in to see what happens at the wedding in terms of musical surprises. "There might be a surprise for everyone at my father's wedding," the actor says in character. Whether or not Daniel sings with his dad isn't the only thing on viewers' minds. Christine asked Daniel last summer to keep Phyllis away from the wedding. We've seen Phyllis crash Cricket's bridal shower at the Jazz Lounge. She had an emotional breakdown with Danny afterwards. We doubt that Phyllis still loves Danny, but there's just something about Cricket that gets under her skin. Will Phyllis try to stop the ceremony, or will she just settle for making it less than memorable for the bride and the groom? Tune in to find out. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, November 17th reveal that Sienna Bacall and Noah Newman may have a hostage crisis ahead of them. Kane Ashby will also surrender to Phyllis Summers, so plenty of Y&R action is on the way. After Phyllis accepts Kane's invitation to spend the evening together, they'll eventually take things somewhere more private. It looks like Kane will end up in Phyllis's suite, where they'll kiss passionately and most likely strip down for some bedroom fun. Kane might regret letting Phyllis get inside his head in the aftermath, but he'll feel ready to distance himself from Lily Winters in that moment. Since Lily judges Kane for his mistakes, he'll savor the feeling of Phyllis's acceptance and sizzle with her. Meanwhile, the drama will heat up in a different way out in Los Angeles. Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will deal with growing fears about missing Noah, who'll be tangled up in another scary situation. It looks like Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, may have Noah thrown in captivity with a little help from Detective Burrow. Noah will end up unconscious in a small space with boxes around, so more trouble's brewing. Sienna may face the same affair punishment since she'll also land in this small space, which could easily be a storage unit or hidden room somewhere. Regardless, Sienna will panic over Noah's condition and frantically urge him to wake up. Noah will thankfully come to and start asking questions, so Sienna may take that as a good sign. Of course, Noah and Sienna will worry about Matt's next vengeful move. Sharon and Nick's concerns about Matt, aka Mitch, are very valid, so Sienna and Noah may acknowledge that as his twisted side becomes more apparent. In the end, Noah and Sienna may determine that if they can't find a way to escape, they could pay a fatal price for their cheating scandal. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Matt will make some updates to his revenge strategy and lead to disturbing news, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Sharon Newman's kidnapping may be derailed. Will Nick Newman race to stop Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, before it's too late? Although Matt is still pretending he's Mitch at this point, Nick and Sharon are right about him being their old nemesis. Matt is the same monster he's always been, no matter what he's calling himself these days. Detective Burrow is being paid to do what Matt wants, so it looks like he may be responsible for throwing Noah into captivity. A hostage situation may be brewing involving Noah and Sienna Bacall, based on the preview video for the week of November 17th, 21st. That same preview video shows Sharon freaking out over what seems to be the fire alarm at her hotel, where Matt shows up on her doorstep. It'll be obvious that Matt's ready to unleash his wrath, so he might have kidnapping plans for Sharon too. Of course, Sharon has been abducted way too many times in her last few storylines. Do we really need to see another kidnapping crisis for Sharon? Y&R may not let it get that far if Nick barges in and stops Matt from turning this into more Sharon abduction drama. Nick may throw another fist at Matt's face and kick off an epic brawl as he works to protect Sharon. Sharon and Nick might manage to get Matt arrested at some point. We know that Nick and Sharon will wind up thinking they have the upper hand on Matt by the time they leave Los Angeles. Sharon and Nick will obviously be wrong about that, since Matt's going to follow them to Genoa City down the road. In the meantime, Matt will wreak much more havoc in LA first, so Sharon's kidnapping may be thwarted as the next phase of this storyline. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nick may get some unsettling news and ride to Sharon's rescue, so stay tuned for more Matt confrontations and erupting anger. The Young and the Restless recap for Friday, November 14th, reveals that Lily Winters will see Phyllis Summers kissing Kane Ashby, while Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, and Noah Newman have an affair face-off. After Noah relieves his guard of his duties and checks himself out of the hospital, Sharon Newman and Nick Newman will get updates on the alarming news. Noah won't be answering his phone on Friday's Y&R episode, but Nick and Sharon will ultimately head to the Shadow Room, thinking he might have gone there. Sure enough, Noah will end up at the nightclub, where he'll find Mitch instead of Sienna Bacall. Mitch will notice Noah seems on edge, and will assume this has something to do with his parents' claims about him being someone named Matt. Noah will acknowledge that Mitch has been good to him, but he'll also point out Sharon and Nick have no reason to lie to him about this. Mitch will argue that they're mistaken instead and run down the list of all the ways he'd been a helpful mentor to Noah. With all that in mind, Mitch will wonder why Noah repaid him by sleeping with his wife. Noah will lie about having only a platonic connection with Sienna, but Mitch will push him to be a man and come clean. Mitch will wonder if Noah has been in his own bed with Sienna and will make it clear that he's no longer interested in helping Noah with an LA club. Noah will continue to deny the affair and start to leave, but Detective Burrow will pop up and stop him. Detective Burrow will have questions about the night of the crash, but Noah won't think he can help since he doesn't remember much of anything. After Detective Burrow says a drive past the crash site might help, he'll warn Noah that it's not a request. Once Sharon and Nick arrive looking for Noah soon after, Matt will play dumb and act like he thought Noah is still in the hospital. Sharon and Nick will want to get the cops involved, so Matt will suggest he can tell the police about the threats they made on his life. Once Nick clarifies that it wasn't just a threat, he'll declare that Matt's a dead man if he did anything to Noah. In the park, Lily will have peppermint hot chocolate with Nate Hastings as he questions her about where things stand with Kane. Once Lily takes off, Victoria Newman will appear and ask Nate to join her for peppermint hot chocolate as well. Nate will happily agree, but he'll later admit he already had a cup and got another anyway just to spend time with Victoria. After some talk about Noah's improvements as well, Claire Newman's LA trip, Victoria and Nate will make dinner plans since their previous meal didn't pan out. At Society, Kane will be flattered and intrigued over Phyllis's seduction attempt, but he'll make it clear that Lily still has his heart. Kane won't be ready to give up on reuniting his family, but Phyllis will act like it's a lost cause. Phyllis will acknowledge her attraction to Kane and will give him a kiss right as Lily enters the restaurant. After Phyllis reminds Kane that she'd never ask him to change, she'll saunter out. When Lily walks over, Kane will realize she witnessed the kiss, but he'll suggest Phyllis is playing games and he's working an angle. Although Kane will act like Arabesque's takedown has given him clarity, Lily won't surrender to the reunion he wants. Kane will eventually seem like he realizes Lily's done and that there's nothing he can do to change her mind. It won't be long until Kane approaches Phyllis at the GCAC bar, where he'll admit she was right. The Young and the Restless, spoilers, say Kane will insist he wants a new future and will wonder if Phyllis is free tonight, so stay tuned to see where things will go from here. The Young and the Restless preview video for the week of November 17 to 21 reveals that Sharon Newman will face some fire alarm panic before menacing Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, ambushes her. YNR's weekly promo begins with Claire Newman, who tells Holden Novak that they need to talk about what happened in LA. Based on Holden's expression, he'll clearly assume Claire's about to give him bad news. Claire has been brushing Holden off ever since they returned home, so he may assume their romantic entanglement is over. Although Claire claims she doesn't regret hitting the sheets with Holden, she may acknowledge that life is different in Genoa City. Claire had a great time with Holden in Los Angeles, but she may give him a speech about focusing on work now and suggest they're better off as friends. However, Holden may worry that he scared Claire off with the stolen wallet fiasco story or that her feelings for Kyle Abbott are still in the way. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers will purr in Kane Ashby's ear and make sure she has his attention. Kane and Phyllis will have a makeout session that could easily lead to some passion in her bed next. YNR's weekly preview video also shows Sienna Bacall urging an unconscious Noah Newman to wake up. As Noah regains consciousness, he groggily wonders what happened to him. Based on the clip, the two of them appear to be in some storage room or warehouse space, so Detective Burrow might lock Sienna and Noah up together on Matt's orders. Whatever the case, it looks like Noah will have to recover from getting knocked out. Sienna may also admit Noah's parents are right, since she did some digging online and found photos of Matt, aka Mitch, when he was living in GC. In Sharon's hotel room, she'll freak out when an alarm starts going off in the building. It seems someone will pull the fire alarm, so Sharon will grab her purse and start to head out the door. Once Sharon opens it, she'll be horrified to find Matt standing there with an evil expression. "You!" Sharon exclaims as Matt glares back at her in the weekly promo. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Matt's behavior will take an even more disturbing turn in the coming episodes, so stay tuned for updates on all the horror to come. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Kane Ashby's double betrayal may rock Phyllis Summers. Kane may get payback two devastating ways and leave Phyllis furious, as well as heartbroken in the end. Of course, we should point out that Phyllis betrayed Kane first. Phyllis stole the AI program and gave it to Victor Newman, who promptly used it to target Kane's company. That wasn't what Phyllis had in mind, since she expected Victor to target Jack Abbott and Jabot instead. Phyllis wants to be in control of Jabot down the road, but that plan may not work out for her either. Victor has promised to hand Jabot over to Phyllis once he's done destroying Jack, but he's not a man who always keeps his promises. Phyllis has already been burned by Victor once, since he went after Arabesque when that wasn't the deal they made. However, it's Kane who Phyllis may really need to watch out for. Phyllis and Kane seem poised to land in bed together based on the preview video for the week of November 17th to 21st, so that'll make things messier between them. This could cause Phyllis's feelings for Kane to grow strong and make her believe they might have a future together. Kane could easily be playing Phyllis and setting her up for some crushing blows. If Kane uses this new layer of their relationship to manipulate Phyllis, he may ultimately pull the rug out from under her. Kane may admit his deception somewhere down the line and make it clear that this was all a ruse. Kane may eventually score proof that Phyllis stole the AI program and dash her dreams of building a real relationship with him. Perhaps Kane could also uncover Phyllis' Jabot takeover goal and manage to gain control of it himself. If Kane ends up in charge of Jabot in the end, he could gloat over that development and deliver yet another infuriating Phyllis setback. Bottom line, Kane could betray Phyllis two ways if he fakes their romance and then steals the Jabot outcome she wanted. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Kane may blindside Phyllis with some dirty tricks, so stay tuned for updates on any terrible news ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Victor Newman may be gearing up for 3 romantic sabotage plots, so he may work to protect some doomed Newman hearts. Y&R fans know Victor tends to think he knows best when it comes to the love lives of his children and grandchildren. Victor is always willing to intervene and steer them down a different path if need be. That's why there are good reasons to be concerned about some new romantic sabotage schemes getting underway. Let's talk about who might be affected by Victor's bold moves and any love life disasters he might have in mind. 1. Victoria and Nate. Since Victoria Newman and Nate Hastings didn't work out the first time around, Victor may have serious doubts about them being able to build a lasting relationship this time around either. Victor previously felt betrayed by Nate and may hold that against him if he starts dating Victoria again. Nate and Victoria indeed seem to be headed into reunion territory, but Victor may try to ruin their renewed bond and put a stop to their new chapter together. 2. Noah and Sienna. Noah Newman is clearly quite enamored with Sienna Bacall, despite her marriage to Mitch Bacall, aka Matt Clark, and the whole mess they're now caught up in. It doesn't look like that'll stop Sienna and Noah from continuing their romance. In fact, Noah and Sienna may become a real couple once she joins him in Genoa City down the road. That could enrage Matt even more, but Sienna and Noah will also have to watch out for Victor's disapproval. There's no way Victor will want Noah with Sienna, so he may make it his mission to tear them apart. 3. Claire and Holden. Claire Newman seems ready to move on from Holden Novak, but that doesn't mean her decision will stick. Holden has developed feelings for Claire and may not be willing to let her go without a fight. Victor doesn't want Claire involved with an untrustworthy bad boy and would rather see her concentrate on work. If there's a chance Holden might convince Claire to move forward with him after all, Victor may want to nip that in the bud. Victor already worked to sabotage Claire and Kyle Abbott's relationship, though he later acted like it was simply a test for Kyle to pass. Regardless, Holden and Claire could face a sabotage plot as well if their romance goes any further. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor will keep proving he's quite the manipulator when it comes to the Newmans' love lives. The Young and the Restless character, Harrison Newman Abbott. Abbott is a resilient child. In fact, he's possibly too resilient. He's had 6 parental figures in his very short life, and it's only logical that he's missing the most important one of them all. We're talking about his biological mother, Tara, played by Elizabeth Liner. Liner made her debut on the show in March 2021 as Kyle's ex-flame, the woman he had an affair with, and bore his son, Harrison. The only problem was that Tara was married to Ashland Locke, so there was built-in tension. Kyle and Tara's love for one another took a back seat to the concerns that Ashland would seek revenge against them. Kyle was involved with Summer, so a Kyle/Tara love match was never in the cards. Maybe it should be. Tara was rushed off the screen after Phyllis exposed that Tara was stealing from her own company. As crimes go in Genoa City, that has to be on the tame side. Whatever price Tara had to pay, even if it included an unlikely jail sentence, she should be out of prison by now. Why hasn't Tara come back to town to reclaim her son? Harrison has had little to no emotional response that he's had 2 fathers, Kyle, Ashland, and 3 mothers or mother figures, Tara, Summer, and Claire, in his short life. The little guy has Newman in his name because Summer adopted him, but she's been living in Italy for several months now. Harrison occasionally vacationing with her isn't providing him with the long-term hands-on love and concern that the little guy needs and deserves. Now is a perfect time for Tara to come back. For starters, we need her opinion on the redone Abbott living room. Liner plays Tara with a soft, patrician, almost mesmerizing quality. She doesn't get overly emotional or excited, and that's part of her charm. She lets people react to her. Imagine if Tara were to come back and question Kyle about his choices since she left. He split from Summer and took up with Claire, a woman who kidnapped her grandmother, Nikki, Melody Thomas Scott, and hooked her up to an IV filled with vodka. Tara could take that info to any judge in the land and likely get at least partial custody. That's what YNR could use right now. A nice, heated custody battle, paging Michael Baldwin and Christine Blair. And who knows? Maybe sparks could fly again between Kyle and Claire. How might Claire react to Kyle moving on with another love? The options are many. Will it happen? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the Young and the Restless Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. We're not sure who to feel more sorry for on the Young and the Restless. Daniel or Tessa? Mariah, or rather her doctors and personnel at the clinic, are discouraging her from seeing Tessa. We can't blame Tessa for feeling sad. How many times can she handle being pushed away by the woman she loves or by her medical team? Apparently, quite a few. Mariah has told Tessa time and time again that she can't be with her. She finally confessed that it was because she nearly killed a mysterious man. Mariah just can't get past this despite recently banishing a demonic hallucination in the form of Ian Ward, the man she blames for her tortured psyche. The facility is supposed to be helping Mariah. If she was making progress, then Tessa should have been given some encouraging news. Instead, Tessa is left with once again the impression that it's over. She throws herself into Daniel's arms without much thought as to what all this is doing to him. Poor Daniel cares about Tessa. He's not made of stone. Is he supposed to just be the best friend she can lean on until Mariah finally comes around? His heart will get broken all over again. This story has had a few starts and stops. We're hoping that it can wrap up. Either break up Mariah and Tessa once and for all, or bring them back together. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full YNR recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Over the course of her 31-year career playing Sharon on Young and Restless, Sharon Case has had to do on-screen battle with more than a few villains, including ones she thought were dead. Late last month, the show kicked off a new arc for the character featuring the surprise return of one of the baddest bad guys ever to darken her doorstep, Matt Clark, now played by daytime vet Roger Howarth. Soap opera. Digest checked in with the daytime Emmy-winning actress for her take on Matt's resurrection, and to tease what Sharon fans can expect as the story progresses. Case found out that Matt, Sharon's teenage beau turned tormentor, was heading back to the Genoa City universe the way so many daytime actors learn of major upcoming twists, by hearing whispers of it on the set. Recalls Case, "I heard it in passing when I was just on stage, and people were hanging around talking. I heard the name Matt Clark, and I then said to Josh, Morrow Nick, I heard there's going to be a Matt Clark storyline. Oh my gosh!" I knew that Noah, Lucas Adams, was coming back, and that he had been in an accident and was in the hospital, but that's all I knew. So when I heard about Matt Clark, I said to head writer, executive producer Josh Griffith when I saw him, "Oh, I heard this is a Matt Clark storyline. How exciting!" The actress was immediately on board. I love when they bring Sharon's old villains back from the past, she enthuses, and they're still after her, like Cameron Kirsten, Lyndon Ashby was. And I loved everything we did with Cameron Kirsten. I was like, it's not over. We keep playing this kind of stuff because now Matt Clark's come back. I think of it in terms of this being classic soap opera storytelling, you know? There's always villains coming back from the dead. Nobody's ever really dead. Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, came back over and over again. We had Diane, Susan Walters come back. That's just one of the great things, the silliness or greatness or whatever you want to call it, about soaps. People always come back. And I'm glad that I have another soapy fun story to tell. Many men have stirred up trouble for Sharon over the course of her years of Genoa City residency. But Matt Clark, who was originally played by Eddie Cibrian, was the first genuine bad guy she had to contend with, and was part of her introductory storyline back in '94. He was always a bad guy, even in the early days. Case notes. He was doing bad things, and Sharon had to survive him, you know? He raped her. He attacked her. He attacked Nick. He falsely accused Nick of attempted murder when he was shot in 1995. The true culprit turned out to be Amy Wilson, another young woman Matt had raped, and got him put in prison. I mean, he was doing bad stuff from the very beginning. The character's villainy kicked up a notch when he came back to town in the early 2000s, and the role was taken over by Rick Hurst, who now plays Rick Lansing on General Hospital. Fabulous actor, praises Case. He was wonderful to work with, and I remember when he kidnapped Sharon, we shot some scenes on location, and we did an overnight shoot-up in a cabin in Griffith Park. It was the first time I ever did an overnight shoot where your call time is late, once it gets back, and you're shooting all evening. That was really fun. Matt Clark 3.0, as played by Howarth, is an even more formidable enemy, Case says. He just gets worse and worse with age, laughs. He gets more and more full of rage and vendettas. He started out bad. I mean, he's obviously disturbed, but he just gets angrier and angrier at the world and takes it out on Sharon and Nick. And now we have Roger Howarth in the role, and he's amazing. I'm thankful and grateful that I get to work with him. Howarth made his Y&R debut when Sharon bumped into Mitch Bacall, as Matt is now calling himself, outside of the Shadow Room, the Los Angeles nightclub he runs with wife Sienna. And the second she lay eyes on him, Sharon knew exactly who he really was. But given that Matt had a notorious on-screen death back in 2001, when the hospitalized villain yanked out his breathing tube and placed it in Nick's arms to frame Nick for murder, playing the moment required Case to pull out a special soap-honed skill, reacting to the sight of a supposedly dead person. Says Case, when someone comes back from the dead, the actors often make fun of or talk about, how do you really play this? How do you react in a scene when you realize somebody's not dead and you see them for the first time and you're like, oh, you're not dead? Like, that generally doesn't happen in real life, so we don't know what expression goes on your face in that scene. I remember I had to play a scene in the coffee house where I realized Diane Jenkins is not dead. This is not a person of significance to Sharon, but you've still got to play it. It's just part of soap operas, and we love that. So, I had to do that on the Halloween show when I see Matt Clark at the club. That was probably my best one because I've been getting good at it lately. Laughs. In the moment, she muses, what I was trying to convey was shock and fear and horror. He was that horrible to her, and he's that horrible of a memory. But also, she's seeing a ghost. It was Halloween when it aired, so I was kind of trying to make it jarring and scary to go along with the spookiness of the holiday. But I think even if it weren't Halloween, that's still what he brings about or evokes from Sharon, for sure. She's rattled to the core. Given their ugly history, Sharon has good reason to be terrified of seeing Matt in the flesh. But when she got in his face on the November 12th episode, demanding that he fess up to not being Mitch, she was hardly cowering in fear. Observes the actress, I think Sharon starts getting tougher and very upset and angry with him when she confronts him. Seeing him again makes her anger come back, and it reminds her of all of the horrible things that he did and the games that he played and his lies. I think she's just disgusted and angry as all get out, and highly determined to get him to admit that he is not who he claims to be. Case thinks that after hallucinating Cameron last year, there is a tiny bit of her that maybe questions whether she's wrong about Matt's identity. Sharon has been through a lot and was imagining seeing Cameron, so she does check herself, like, am I losing it? But that self-doubt is but a blip. She knows that he's lying, Case asserts. She knows he's back, so he lied about his death, and he's going to cause trouble, so of course she wants him to admit that he's Matt Clark. While self-preservation is a strong incentive, protecting her son, Noah, is an even bigger one. And in the wake of Noah's car crash, not to mention the fact that he was having an affair with Mrs. Mitch Bacall, her mama bear instincts go into high gear. She doesn't know exactly what's going on or how all this could have happened, the actress says. Did Matt seek out Noah on purpose? Could it have been accident and not a deliberate attempt on Noah's life? She and Nick keep coming up with different ideas and theories, and they're constantly trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. They haven't figured it out yet, but Sharon is still trying, and it just makes it all the more confusing that Matt won't admit that he's Matt. He won't explain to her, yeah, I've been watching you for years, and I came after your son. He won't admit any of that. It's maddening, Case continues. She's been through a lot lately, and to have this guy doing this and not admitting who he is, it just gets to the point where it's just pure anger pouring out of her. His denials only fuel Sharon's resolve to unpack the mystery. I think she feels that she has to keep going after the truth, Case reasons. She's forced to be determined to do so because Matt Clark is connected to Sienna, and Sienna is connected to Sharon's son, so she is in this whether she wants to be or not. The only way out is the way through. Where the story goes from here, says Case, will take viewers by surprise. Just when you think, oh, okay, we know Matt Clark, he's a bad guy. He's probably gonna just do X, Y, or Z bad thing. It turns in a way that you wouldn't think. And then just when you think you've gotten a hold of that and that you get the storyline, it twists again. Coming back from the dead is a classic soap story, she adds. But what is not necessarily common is the different twists that we have over and over again. I think the audience won't be able to guess who comes into the story next and how it turns. One thing is for certain, though. If Matt thinks that he'll have an easy time victimizing Sharon, he's in for an unpleasant surprise. I'm gonna give him hell, assures Case. Young and the Restless spoilers for No View 17-21 poem 2025 reveal Nick Newman making threats and Billy Abbott being attacked. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week, then we dive into what's ahead for next week. On Wednesday, November 12th, we've got Nick busting into the room while Sienna and Noah Newman are kissing. Nick pulls Sienna out into the hall and grills her about lying to him and Sharon Newman because she's clearly been seeing Noah. Sienna said that's because that was Noah's info to reveal to his parents, not hers. Nick starts grilling Sienna about being in the car with Noah, or maybe following him in her car the night he had the accident. Sienna denies all that and says there are witnesses at Shadow Room that can say she was at work all evening. Nick asks if Mitch would hurt Noah, but Sienna insists he was out of town. Nick says her husband's real name is Matt Clark, and he's dangerous. He says he's known Sienna's husband for decades, and the guy terrorized Sharon. Of course, Sienna doesn't believe this, and she wonders if it's all true. Why is this Matt Clark guy not in prison? Nick says because Matt supposedly died and actually tried to frame Nick for killing him on the way out. This Mitch persona is obviously fake. Sienna thinks it's all crazy, but Nick asks how well she knows her husband and how long they've been together. Sienna says the man he's describing, Matt, is not her husband. She also says that her husband does not know she's involved with Noah and tells Nick her husband's not the enemy. She takes off. Sharon threatens Matt, and their confrontation continues. She thinks that he deliberately went after Noah, but Mitch is like, no, because he's still pretending to be Mitch, right? He tells Sharon he's glad Noah was okay, and denies that he's this Matt person. Sharon promises to make Matt sorry for these sick games he's playing. He says he's sick of Sharon's threats and Nick's threats, and he's not going to put up with it. Matt says Nick physically attacked him, and then Sharon's the one calling him violent when he hasn't done anything. Mitch insists he's not this Matt person. Sharon grabs him, and then Mitch says, "You need to stop putting hands on me." Sharon says she won't stop no matter what. Then Matt starts talking about getting a restraining order because Nick threatened to kill him, and then she's making threats. So, Sharon leaves very upset and leaves Phyllis Summers a message while she's in tears, thanking her for supporting her and Nick while they're going through this Noah crisis in LA. Then Sharon leaves Nick a message saying she confronted Matt and asking if they should go to the cops about him. Meanwhile, Nick confronts his son Noah about hiding the Sienna affair. Noah admits he feels bad because he's betraying Allie and Gwen, and Nick wants to know how much he knows about this Mitch guy. Well, Noah met him in London. Mitch said he should open a club in LA. Noah says he does feel guilty for sleeping with Mitch's wife because he likes the guy. But Nick says Noah needs to stay away from Mitch, and also Sienna. Then Sharon joins, and Noah wants to know what they're hiding from him. Nick tells Sharon he caught Sienna with Noah, but he says it was just a kiss. That's what their son says. Nick tells him Mitch is really Matt, a very bad man from their past. They tell Noah that Matt hurt Sharon so many times, and they suspect that it was him, Matt, that ran Noah off the road because of his fling with Sienna. Noah is annoyed and tells them to leave. Meanwhile, Sienna has done a little bit of homework. She confronts Mitch and says, "Quit lying." He gets annoyed, and first he says, "Let's talk tomorrow." But Sienna has a photo on her phone of Matt Clark from 20 years ago from a newspaper with a headline in Genoa City. So, he's doing the gaslight thing and saying that she's crazy. Sienna asked if he got close to Noah as part of some game to trap Sharon and Nick. Matt keeps up the gaslighting, calling Sienna crazy and telling her to drop it. She threatens to go to the cops, and Matt gets very serious and says that would be a big mistake on Young and the Restless. Back in Genoa City, Billy tells Sally Spectra that Kane Ashby having a bad day. Billy thinks Phyllis stole Kane's AI, and it's causing problems. Sally worries about them targeting Abbotcom. Billy wants to check with their IT people and make sure that they're prepared, and he starts trash-talking Kane about him getting what he deserves. Sally just wants to focus on the launch and not revenge. Billy brings up Audra Charles, and Sally says that both he and Jill Abbott will see how good Audra is once she officially hires her once they're up and running. So, Billy asks how Jill is to work for, and Sally says everything's good, and says Jill thinks he doesn't know she's the investor. Billy says he's going to clean up his act. He's not drinking, he's giving up bad habits, and Sally loves this. Thursday, November 13th, Adam Newman and Victor Newman go after Billy. He is attacked. This might be a Newman media hit piece mocking him for taking the back seat at Abbotcom with Sally running it, or it could be something to do with the AI. Danny Romalotti and Christine Williams are finalizing their wedding plans. There's about a week left until these two get hitched. Kane is on the defensive. Obviously, his own AI is being used against him. Victor is trying to ruin his business, and Phyllis is in the mix. Friday, November 14th, we've got Matt telling Detective Burrow, "By the way, he's a real cop. He's just a dirty cop." But he tells him to get the guard away from Noah's hospital room. And then somebody corners Noah. So I wonder with the guard gone if creepy Matt is up there and threatens him. That's what I expect. Tessa Porter is talking with Daniel Romalotti at Crimson Lights. They may have a hard time ignoring their growing feelings. Plus, they may be rehearsing because Daniel is supposed to perform the song that he wrote at the wedding. And I wonder if Tessa will sing with him. We got sparks flying for Nate Hastings and Victoria Newman by the end of the week, and Lily Winters finds Kane and Phyllis in a very, very close situation. The week of November 17th through the 21st on Young and the Restless, we've got the Matt Clark storyline taking a dangerous turn. He feels betrayed by Sharon and Nick, also by Sienna and Noah. Looks like he wants them all to suffer, so watch for some danger. Billy is in hot water with Sally for breaking a promise. And Noah and Sienna's feelings intensify, and she pushes more on Matt, who's going to snap before much longer. Now, I do know that Sienna ends up in Genoa City with Noah before the holidays, but I've not seen any behind-the-scenes photos of Matt. So, maybe Sharon just kills him in LA. That's what she does. She kills the people that come back from her past to torment her. We've got more details about Holden Novak and Audra's LA secret, and Adam continues to try to protect Jack Abbott and Jabot. Nikki Newman may tell Victor to back off Jack, but he won't. Claire Grace Newman's steamy night with Holden is going to set off Kyle Abbott. And I wonder if Phyllis can shut down the AI and take Victor down a peg. We've also got Jai Rodriguez back as the party planner, Pietro Christine's and Danny's wedding, which takes place Friday, November 21st, and Monday, November 24th. Johnny Abbott and Katie Abbott are back on the canvas for the holidays. We've got Nina Webster and Gina Roma back to Y&R for the wedding. Also at Danny and Cricket's wedding, we should see Michael Baldwin, Lauren Fenmore, Abby Newman, Devin Hamilton, Jack and Diane Jenkins, Daniel and Tessa, and Daniel should be performing, maybe Tessa too. Also, wait to see if Phyllis crashes, because in a new interview, Michael Damian said that the wedding won't be a walk in the park, and there are some ups and downs. Kane opens up to Phyllis as Adam sets a trap for Billy, and Victor's ruthless strategy threatens to destroy them all. In the November 13th episode of The Young and the Restless, Kane took a surprising step toward redemption, opening up to Phyllis about his losses, regrets, and need to rebuild after Victor's devastating AI strike. Across town, Adam made his move against Billy, plotting to publicly humiliate him in a strategic play designed to impress Victor. Both moments revealed the tension between revenge and renewal in Genoa City, and hinted that a new corporate and personal war is about to begin. Kane faced the aftermath of losing control of his company after Victor's calculated AI attack. When Adam found him at Society, Kane refused to take the bait. Instead of rage, he projected calm, even thanking Victor for forcing him to reevaluate his priorities. The exchange unsettled Adam, who expected fury, not reflection. When Phyllis arrived, their conversation took on a more personal tone. Kane confessed that he wanted to rebuild his life from the ground up, not just his business, but his relationships too. He admitted to wanting to make amends with his children and even Lily, though Phyllis shot down the idea as unrealistic. Still, their connection deepened when she offered to help him reconnect with his family. The tension grew palpable when Kane teased that she sounded like she was trying to seduce him, a line that shifted their dynamic in an instant. Kane's sudden humility marks a potential turning point. For years, he's defined himself by competition, control, and ego, all traits that helped destroy his empire. By opening up to Phyllis, he may have found an unlikely ally, but also one capable of using his vulnerability to her advantage. Phyllis's involvement in Victor's AI plot remains unclear, but her proximity to both men puts her in a dangerous position. If she's sincere, this could mark a redemptive chapter for them both. If not, Kane's trust could become her latest weapon. Meanwhile, Adam's decision to publicly humiliate Billy reveals his enduring need for Victor's approval. On the surface, it's business, a bid to convince an investor to abandon Abbott Communications, but emotionally, it's another move in Adam's lifelong struggle to prove his worth to his father. Every step deeper into Victor's orbit risks undoing his fragile independence. The ripple effects of these choices could be enormous. Kane's quest for redemption may clash directly with Victor's hunger for dominance, and Phyllis could find herself caught between them. Adam's scheming risks triggering another Newman-Abbott war, one that won't just target businesses, but relationships, reputations, and trust itself. In Genoa City, peace never lasts long, and tonight's uneasy calm feels like the silence before the next explosion. Tessa wants to work on her marriage, but Mariah doesn't want anything to do with her. On The Young and the Restless, November 13th, the episode, Tessa wondered whether her marriage to Mariah was over. Once again, she confided in Daniel, who was falling even more in love with her. Tessa entered Crimson Lights in tears. She hugged Daniel, telling him that she had gone to see Mariah again. Daniel asked Tessa what had happened. Tessa confessed that Mariah refused to see her. The staff agreed that it was best for Mariah not to let her wife in if she showed up. She also won't return Tessa's calls. Mariah swiftly blocked her wife and their daughter from her life. As Tessa and Daniel walked to Chancellor Park, Tessa wondered whether Mariah was done with her. Daniel told Tessa that she needed to try harder. As they sat down, Tessa exclaimed that she thought she would be with Mariah forever. Daniel doesn't believe their love story is over, but Tessa isn't so sure. She wondered how she would break the news to Arya. Tessa told Daniel that she would need a friend during this difficult time in her life. Daniel isn't sure if he can help since he has feelings for her, but Tessa knows that she can't save Mariah anymore. She has to save herself, and she wants her friend along for the ride. Later in the episode, Tessa and Daniel showed up at the club. They ran into Cricket and Danny, who were busy planning their wedding. They asked them to try the donut holes. Daniel and Tessa loved this uncanny idea for their wedding cake. After the fiancés left, Daniel told Tessa that he needed to speak to her about the wedding. Yes, they're performing a song together, but he wants more. He decided to shoot his shot. Daniel asked Tessa how she would feel about going as his date. Earlier, Tessa said she wasn't sure what her future entailed. Does this involve a new beginning with Daniel? Y&R fans are rooting for Tessa and Daniel after their steamy kiss. Although Daniel is a supportive friend, he can't help but have feelings for her. Will Tessa move forward with Daniel? If so, does this mean her marriage to Mariah is officially over?